So the model that Anthropic said would destroy the world has come out. It's called Fable. Doesn't sound so scary. No. And what did I do with it? Well, I made it build me a website for my card game that I made a couple years ago. I wanted to compare Fable to Opus, the old model that was the best model before, and see how they compare to each other. I want to know if the scary, expensive one is going to be worth it or not, or if we're all going to be fine with just Opus and not spending the extra cash. I have two test cases. The first test case is with my card game as inspiration. I gave them the exact same prompt. The second test case is with no visual help or anything. Here we have the game. It's Make a Sound. It's a game where you play it as charades. You have a sound and then you're supposed to make that sound like a duck, and then you go quack, and then you try to get as many points that way. And I wanted Claude to design me this website. So let's get into the results. Something worth noting, like this isn't actually the model that Anthropic said would destroy the world. This is a version of that model with some more safeguards. It's called Mythos, and that one is not open to the public yet. It's only for specific companies and people. So we're safe for a while, maybe, I don't know. People have access to it in some ways, so shit could still happen, you know? But yeah, I made two different tests, as you know. The one with design direction and the one without. So looking at the one without any design direction from Opus, we have Make a Sound here. It looks very AI generated. For all these that I have generated, I haven't made any changes. I just prompted it. For the case where I didn't give it any like design direction, it did ask me what kind of vibe I wanted. So I said colorful and playful, and that's kind of what I got. And here we have the cards where you can test them out. So you have a room, you have a cat, you have a fart, like a you know? Yeah. And you have the waiting list, you have Make a Sound, and you can go to how to play. There's actually two different ways of playing this. I just told you about the charades one before. But this is the one from Opus. Like, it's a good start, but going into Fable's one, it's a little bit different. It's kind of similar. You can see that they kind of start from the same place. So you can also flip the cards. Like, all the elements are the same. It's just like the small details that are different. And I think Fable does this better. If you just like, look here, Make a Sound. You have the sound is a bit tilted. The join the waiting list button is nicer. It kind of makes an animation down to the waiting list, while on Make a Sound, you push the button and it just like spawns you there. Like there's a difference in quality and feel to the websites. And quickly just going into phone mode, everything looks good here. Yeah, and here as well. Yeah, everything looks nice. And it's a little bit tilted there with the cards. I like that. It's good. Okay, so moving on with my design as inspiration, we have Make a Sound here from Opus, and the mouth is kind of cool. I don't know, it kind of looks like something else, so I wouldn't be using that, but yeah. But the design looks a bit funner. It's more inspired by my design. It has the big font. The buttons are funner. You have the banner. It's nice. You have some animations. I told it to be playful, and I think it did that better. The cards are also better. There's some more animations. And you have the deck, and you can push next card. So you get a card demo, and I really like that, which I also asked for. Then you have the waiting list, and it looks a lot nicer when you've actually told it more what you want. Down here, we can see that the contrast isn't really there, for this website at least. Going back to Make a Sound from Fable, we can see we have the mouth isn't really as nice here, but it does have the same layout as on my card game here. And there's a little bit of a bug with the tent thing going, but I think the background is really nice. Going down, I think there is just a little bit more polished. This looks a lot nicer than this. It is actually funner. And then going here, try the deck. The card flipping game thing, it looks nicer. If I would just like switch out my logo to the one here, I could see myself shipping this one. Like it is in good shape, and I feel like Fable is really good at more of the detail work than this. But then again, you'll have to pay for Fable. And is there that big of a difference? I don't know. You could easily get there with Opus for free. Or not for free because I'm paying for Opus, but for less amount of money. So we've seen the result of the models, but what was actually the token difference and the time difference. Going with the no design inspiration, we could see that Opus took 3% of my Pro plan tokens, which is around 1,300 tokens, while Fable took 4%, which is 1,700-ish. So not that huge of a difference between those two, but Fable actually took a minute quicker than Opus. But the big difference comes when you give it more context and more descriptions. So with my design inspiration, Opus took 6% of my tokens, which is around 2,600 tokens, which is starting to be a bit more expensive. Comparing this to Fable, who took 11% of my context, which is around 4,800, it becomes a lot more expensive. And was there a big difference between the two? I don't think so. And looking at how long time it took between the two, Opus did it in like around 2.5 minutes again, while Fable actually did it in more like 4.5. So Fable took a lot more time to develop the web page with more context to it. So is Fable actually worth it? Well, there wasn't that much difference between the two. I think with Opus you can easily get to the same point. Was the design a little bit better with Fable? Yes, it was. But is it worth the extra cost? For websites? No, I don't think so. At least this simple website. I've seen other people use Fable to create like complex games or build in Notion, copycat in 2 prompts. A whole like you could build a big complex system. What is the advantage you have from Fable is that you can just tell it everything you want it to create and it will create it, the functionality for it. The design might be bad because taste is important, but you can get the functionality all in one go. You don't have to sit and add the functionality one by one. You can just tell it everything and it will build it. That's the difference between Opus and Fable. And it doesn't show in this example here, but there are plenty of examples out there that show this, that Opus might need 6-7 prompts to get there in a complicated task, while Fable does it in one go. So when it becomes to big complicated stuff, it's 100% worth it. But do you have that many big complicated tasks that it needs, or could you suffice with Opus? It's the cost versus what it gives you, and only you can decide that one. But I think going forward, the thing that you would win the most out of is having good taste when developing products and things. That is going to be the one thing that sets you apart from another. It's having good UI, good UX, and developing a project that feels good, because developing stuff isn't really a problem anymore. And Fable is free for now if you have Pro or Max plan until 23rd, so it's time to kind of try to prompt maxing, I guess, and build the bigger things that you have in store and go back after that offer is off the table and do some design work and prompt it to change some stuff. But I think it's valuable to take up those projects that you have in your back pocket a little bit sooner than you thought and get the skeleton out there coded, because Fable can do that. Until the 23rd, that's what you should do to save a bit of money and a bit of time. My name is Zoe and I'm doing my master's. I have a bachelor in computer science. It's summer vacation right now and I don't have a job, but that all is intentional because this summer I'm trying to make money online and not by a traditional job, which AI has made a lot easier to create product. If you want to see how that goes, then follow along because we'll see how it goes. At the end of the summer, I'll make a recap of everything I learned, everything I spent, bought, earned, or didn't earn. So stay tuned for that. I will be building different products, apps, and if you thought this game sounded fun, there's a waiting list below because it's one of the products I will be developing this summer. And before you go, I would be super interested in hearing what you guys think about Opus versus Fable and what your experience has been. I would really appreciate it if you liked this video, made a comment, and subscribed. It would really mean a lot to me. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.